Metis is a Greek-based company, of course. We introduce ourselves as a telemetry-first fleet performance management company. That is that we install an automated data acquisition system on board. We collect data. We enrich the data with other data like weather, geolocation, noon reports from the ERP, vessel, voyage, and bunkering-related information. And then we transform the data into intelligent analytics on our cloud-based platform on 4 main domains: emissions, operations, performance, and machinery. Now, we were established in 2017. We are a small company in regard to people. However, I believe we are a big company in the footprint we have developed in the domain. And we have global presence through commercial agencies and certified installers throughout the world, not in Norway yet, but it's something that we have to fix. Now, we have a significant customer base with more than 500 vessels in our platform. Now, our business sits in the intersection of digital technologies and shipping. So we try to build expertise on both. However, more of that expertise is towards the digital technologies, of course. Through the technology part of our business, the recent months, we've seen a tremendous wave of innovations and new developments in the area of AI. This is something that happens. This is something that will enter at some point in time maritime as well. I'm sure that all of us, we use in our everyday lives AI tools as individuals and sometimes for business purposes as well. So when people as individuals use tools for business purposes, then the business will follow gradually. I'm not saying that will happen tomorrow or in the next 6 months, but will come as we go along. This is a reality that will enter maritime and will transform the business somehow in all main functions. However, we have to agree that there is a critical question that AI-powered analytics largely depend on the data integrity. I mean, even the most advanced algorithms or models not just fail, but they can actually be mislead. I mean, you all have heard about hallucinations, AI creating hallucination, and a different reality that is not real world. This is something that we have to take into consideration. Today, I will show you which is the way that we can build an AI on foundation we can trust. I will present our approach that we apply at Metis. And this is a strategic priority for us. It's not just a technical requirement or a hype. Now, we see the framework as a structured layer, construction of layers as a pyramid here. Now, at the base, we have the resilient IoT infrastructure. Above that, the data health framework. And after that, the semantic layer. This is probably the most important now. And on top, it's the analytics or agentic AI or whatever engine. Now, let's take each one to see it deeper. Resilient IoT. This is a must. I mean, we can all agree that you cannot have analytics without high-frequency data. Okay, this is the starting point. Now, we consider data something live, not something static that you install once and you forget. You have to take constant care of it. And that's why we need to have centralized management. We have to be able to monitor the equipment, being able to update the firmware across the fleet. We need to have proactive detection, identify problems when they exist, and ideally self-healing. This might sound quite, let's say, sophisticated, but some simple things can actually do the job. I mean, it's a practical example. We have identified that our data collectors, in some conditions, they get stuck. So what we do, get to the people at the office and say, look, this sensor got stuck. Talk to the crew on board to a reboot. Of course, the crew has many other things to do. This is not a priority for them, so it might take days or weeks in order to do a simple reboot. We've embedded in the hardware the ability to identify, to pre-identify the state of stacking and do a reboot by itself. This solves the problem just like that. This is self-healing, not something sophisticated, but it does the job. Data health. You know the saying, garbage in, garbage out. So we have to ensure that we have data, healthy data. Our approach is based on 3 pillars. Validity is the first. Does the data make any sense? This involves checking with expected ranges, not just for the specific signal, but for a bunch of signals that are related. So the context, does it make sense or not? Then it's completeness. I mean, the data we gather tell a story, the story of each vessel. We have to ensure that there are no gaps in this story. We have a continuous data flow. And last, the third, timeliness. Ensure that the data get on the platform on time in order to be relevant and useful. This is the data health framework. Continuously safeguards the quality of the telemetry of the data we get. So far, we've done great. We have a continuous data flow. We check the health. We have reliable data, reliable KPIs. Is it enough? Well, in the new era of AI, this is not enough. A reliable KPI like the fuel consumption, for example, is useless, in quotes, if the system doesn't understand what it represents in the real world. And this is where the next layer gets into the picture. This is the semantic layer. This is where we get critical contextual intelligence. This is where we go beyond number crunching into teaching AI the context behind its metric, its KPI, its analytic. If you imagine data health being the body, the semantic layer is the brain, who sees an increase in fuel consumption and knows why it happened. It doesn't just see a number going up. It sees why, because the weather, because of the condition of the hull, because of the main engine underperforming. He knows exactly what happens. And this is a massive leap forward that transforms AI from pattern matching, this is something we know so far, to a reasoning engine. So the system knows and has to compare multiple factors, to understand the trade-offs, and make recommendations not just on data, but on the deep understanding of the business. And this brings a huge, let's say, change in the user experience as well. So we move from passive dashboards and static analytics to active reasoning, recommendations through interaction with the system. We have some idea from the tools that we use on our everyday lives so far. I mean, at Metis, we are at the point where we start to develop the tools and the applications to be used by our customers in the times to come. I wouldn't say in, next month, not today, but quite recently. And I can verify that in our coding, AI is far less than 90% of the code written, of course, yet. Now, this is the equation that summarizes our approach. Resilient IoT, healthy data, and semantic context is the foundation for trustworthy AI. In brief, reliable data and contextual intelligence is the one that will unlock the power of AI. And typically, this would be my ending slide. However, I want to add one more dimension in the discussion, and this is transparency. Because we don't live in an ideal world, and systems break, machines fail, sensors drift, communications fail again. So no matter how much effort you put, there will always be some gaps in the story. And no matter how much you try to fix those, they will still exist. So what we selected as a company is to be transparent with the customers and display the level of confidence with which we provide our recommendation, our KPIs, our analytics. So the customer knows when he's about to make a decision or take an action, the level of confidence with which he will proceed. Because we believe that transparency brings trust. And this is the kind of relation that we want to have with our customers. Thank you for your attention.
A few questions we can take for Andreas before we move to the break. I want to see your hands over there.
Thank you for a good presentation. Bjørn
Thank you.
Oppdal, DNB. I completely agree with what you say about the semantics. It's completely essential when you want to deploy AI. Problem being maybe that, I mean, you are maybe representing one silo. Are you then going to create a semantic layer for yourself? And how is this going to communicate with the semantics of other companies and other data? And how do you see that this can be resolved on a more global scale than for you as a company alone?
Well, this is a valid question. And as we are at the beginning of the development of AI-powered applications for businesses, because as mentioned previously, it's easy to play and develop and use AI tools for yourself, but when it comes to business applications, everything has to be more serious, more well thought of. So at the moment, we are building the semantic layer on ourselves. Certainly, I believe that in the future there has to be some kind of, let's say, sharing of the work done in order to achieve some homogeneous, let's say, systems to be able to have some common grounds on which the industry will move forward. I'm not sure how that is going to happen. We are working on a quite closed, I would say, industry. There are big players that want to rule the industry, and there is no room for smaller company, probably like us. So I'm not sure how this will go on. But at the moment, we are trying to build our own semantic layer based on the information that we have and on the scope that we are operating.
More questions? Carl, maybe you have any.
In terms of helping people get a sort of wider map of how all these different bits fit together, would you characterize this talk as a kind of bottom-up approach? So we start with the data, we put the data together, and that gets us in the best possible position to do all the other wonderful things we want to do?
I guess yes. I mean, it's a quite high-level approach. I'm not getting into too technical details. But this is an approach that I think it's easy to share with people and understand what are we doing internally in order to serve our customers. I mean, of course, there are a lot of technicalities, a lot of details in each layer I presented. I'm not able to go into that detail. I'm not a technical guy myself. I'm more on the business side. However, this is a way that I feel that I can make it easy for the people to understand, share and understand our point and our point of view.
I'd like to make a comment on your question and your answer. I think that the idea of having different semantic layers from different vendors is here to stay. Nobody's going to produce one semantic layer because nobody's going to specialize. Even in your business or yours, it's likely that somebody specialized in a certain area of propagations. So that person and those propagations are not the same as the other ones. To put the logic into, put such reasoning into a system requires skill, and people actually apply the skills at a business level. The consumer, on the other hand, has nothing to do with how the skills are required. The consumer is interested in how can I optimize or what should I do for the rest of this voyage to maximize my ship's performance. It shouldn't matter who is providing the information that supports that. That should be independent. You should be able to get different vendors and join it up. You can say, this vendor tells you that you should do this and the other vendor slightly differently. Why can't that happen? Why do we need somebody to buy everybody and join them all up? And to do what? And how they're going to buy? They're also going to buy the crewing system, and they're also going to buy the email system, and they're also going to buy everything that makes decisions happen. I mean, a discussion about optimizing the remainder of the voyage is going to involve talking to people in the office. Where does that go? This giant that's going to buy everything is going to buy that as well.
Just a response to that, in a lot of other industries, there has been created a common semantic layer. And I think that's been essential for the digital sort of progress in those industries. So I cannot see why maritime should be very special in that respect.
For example, airlines, is that?
Airline industries, public transport industry, manufacturing industries, oil and gas. It's multiple industries that are and have created common semantics for their industry on an industry basis. So,
yeah, that can happen if the standardization aspect is more important than the progress aspect. Standardization slows down progress because you have to agree on how to interpret something or how to put the reasoning in there. And you have to all agree how easy is that? How quickly will that happen? So I think that with the advent of modern AI, neuro and symbolic AI, you can join those things up. You can interpret somebody's reasoning in somebody else's reasoning. It's not impossible to do, and everybody can move forward instead of waiting for all of us to agree. Of course, if there's safety issues like in aircraft, where the ultimate issue isn't whether the airline is better than the other airline, which it is in shipping, by the way. There is competition between companies. In an airline, the safety aspect is not the competing aspect, it's the pricing and so on. So perhaps fuel use is competitive, but the safety aspect is so much bigger than everything. But of course, there's much more collaboration and much more standardization.
I don't think we should continue for a long time on this one.
Of course, standardization is good for the business. However, in shipping, we haven't seen that so far. And this is something that we really would like to have at hand when we develop our services. However, it's not the reality. What I see is that everyone will start with its own semantic layer, and the bet is whether at some point in time there will be a convergence.
If I can conclude with the jokes, the Greek semantic AI will suggest not to replace the sensor, and the Norwegian AI will suggest to replace the sensor.
Okay, I think it's a good note to continue the discussions in the coffee room. We're doing quite well with the time management, so full 30 minutes break outside. Coffee, snacks is waiting for you.